Hey everyone, welcome back to TV Deep Dive. I'm your host Amelia, and today we're breaking down what might be the most explosive episode of Beyond the Gates yet. Season 1, Episode 18, titled The Reckoning. If you've been following our recaps all season, you know we've been building to this moment. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and notification bell, because trust me, you'll want to be here for our finale recap next week. After what just went down, this is your official spoiler warning. We're covering everything about episode 18, including that shocking final scene that has social media on fire. So, if you haven't watched yet, now is your chance to pause and come back later. All right, let's get into it. After 17 episodes of secrets, lies, and power plays, the residents of Oakwood Estates are finally facing the consequences of their actions, and no one is walking away unscathed. The reckoning picks up immediately after last week's bombshell revelation that Danny Dupree has been working with federal investigators for the past 3 months, gathering evidence against her own father and several other Oakwood Estates residents. The episode expertly balances multiple storylines, reaching their breaking points. Vernon facing potential indictment, Anita's desperate attempts to salvage the family legacy, Nicole and Ted's marriage finally imploding after weeks of deception, and the shocking alliance between Martin Richardson and Chelsea Hamilton that no one saw coming. Meanwhile, the long buried truth about Marcus Hamilton's death 15 years ago finally comes to light, revealing connections between all the major families that recontextualize everything we thought we knew about Oakwood Estates. Director delivers what might be the season's most visually striking episode, with rain-soaked confrontations, power outages casting shadows across once pristine homes, and framing that increasingly isolates characters from each other as alliances shatter and new ones form. Let's break down exactly how everything unfolded in this game-changing episode. The episode opens with a stunning sequence intercutting between Danny meeting with federal agents and flashbacks to key moments throughout the season, where she was secretly gathering evidence. This brilliant montage recontextualizes scenes we've already watched, showing us Danny's covert recordings of conversations, photographing documents, and copying files. What makes this sequence so powerful is seeing Danny's emotional struggle played out across these moments, her genuine conflict between family loyalty and her moral compass. S' performance here is phenomenal, communicating volumes with just her expressions as she betrays the family that raised her. The investigation centers on three major allegations. 1. Vernon's illegal acquisition of the land for Oakwood Estates, which involved bribing officials and forcing out lower-income residents 20 years ago. 2. The Richardson family bank's pattern of discriminatory lending practices, orchestrated primarily by Ted's father but continued under Ted's leadership. 3. The cover-up surrounding Marcus Hamilton's death, which now appears to have been neither an accident nor a suicide, as previously claimed. We learn that the federal investigation began months before Danny got involved, triggered by Eva Thomas anonymously reporting financial irregularities she discovered while working on community tax filings. This revelation finally explains Eva's increasingly anxious behavior throughout the season. The scenes between Vernon and Anita as they realize the extent of Danny's betrayal provide some of the most emotionally raw moments of the season. After maintaining perfect composure for 17 episodes, we finally see Anita truly lose control, shattering a family heirloom in a moment of blind rage that feels both shocking and inevitable. Vernon's reaction is equally compelling but completely different. A quiet, almost resigned acceptance that suggests he's been expecting this day of reckoning for years. His line to Anita, "We built this place on quicksand and called it solid ground," perfectly encapsulates the show's central theme. What follows is a fascinating power shift in their relationship. For the first time, Vernon appears broken, while Anita transforms into the family's protector. Her scene with their lawyer outlines three possible strategies, revealing just how tactically brilliant Anita can be when cornered. Most revealing is the flashback to 20 years ago, finally showing us young Vernon and Anita as they first conceived of Oakwood Estates. This scene recontextualizes their entire relationship, showing that Anita was actually the driving force behind both the community's creation and some of its more questionable foundations. The episode deliberately parallels this flashback with current scenes of Danny meeting with prosecutors, creating a powerful commentary on generational change and moral evolution. While the Duprees face external threats, the Richardson family completely implodes from within. Ted's desperation reaches new heights as he realizes the federal investigation will expose his financial crimes. His confrontation with Nicole becomes the most honest conversation they've had all season. Ted's confession that he's been systematically embezzling from the family bank to cover gambling debts confirms what many viewers suspected since episode 12. What's surprising is Nicole's revelation that she's known for months but said nothing because, in her words, a Richardson scandal would become a Dupree scandal. Meanwhile, Martin Richardson finally steps out of his brother's shadow in spectacular fashion. After discovering Ted attempted to frame him for the financial irregularities, Martin retaliates by turning over years of damaging family documents to Chelsea Hamilton, who we now learn has been building a case against both the Richardsons and Duprees. The scene between Martin and Smitty, as they decide to leave Oakwood Estates entirely, provides a rare moment of hope amidst the chaos, suggesting that escape from this toxic environment might be the only path to redemption for any of these characters. Episode 18 finally reveals the full scope of Bill Hamilton's long game revenge plan against Vernon Dupree, and, by extension, everyone connected to his brother Marcus's death. The revelation that Chelsea has been helping her father execute this plan for years recontextualizes her character entirely. They're seen together reviewing their victory board, a visual map of how they've manipulated events throughout the season, is chilling in its calculation. We see now that Chelsea's seeming reconciliation with Danny in episode 9, her business partnership with Ted in episode 11, and even her romantic connection with Leslie Thomas were all strategic moves in this elaborate revenge scheme. The most shocking revelation comes when we learn that while Bill wanted financial and social destruction for the Duprees and Richardsons, Chelsea's ambitions go further. She's been manipulating her father as well, positioning herself to take control of not just the Hamilton business, but potentially acquire the failing Dupree and Richardson assets as well. Naomi Hamilton's discovery of her father and sister's plan creates another fascinating dynamic, as she's forced to choose between family loyalty and her growing relationship with Eva Thomas, who stands to lose everything if the Hamiltons succeed. The episode's most powerful sequence finally reveals the full truth about Marcus Hamilton's death 15 years ago through a series of flashbacks triggered by confrontations in the present. We learn that Marcus, Bill's younger brother and Chelsea and Naomi's uncle, was initially partnered with Vernon in developing Oakwood Estates. The flashbacks show their vision was actually more inclusive than what eventually manifested. They wanted economic diversity within the community rather than the exclusive enclave it became. The critical revelation comes in 3 parts. 1. Vernon, Ted's father, and 2 other founding members voted to push Marcus out of the development deal after he refused to compromise on their original vision. 2. After being ousted, Marcus threatened to expose the illegal tactics used to acquire the land, leading to a confrontation at Vernon's office. 3. During this confrontation, Marcus accidentally fell down a staircase after being pushed by Ted's father, not Vernon as everyone assumed. Vernon, Anita, and the others covered up the truth, making it look like a suicide. The most devastating element is learning that Anita was the one who convinced everyone to cover up the truth, orchestrating the false suicide narrative and ensuring all evidence pointed away from them. This explains her obsessive control over the community's narrative and her frequent nightmares hinted at throughout the season. Bill Hamilton's discovery of a partial recording of that night, revealed to be made by a young Leslie Thomas, explaining her leverage over the community, fueled his decades-long vendetta. The episode's 3rd act features a series of confrontations and unexpected alliances as the community fractures under pressure. 1. Danny versus Anita. Their confrontation in the rain outside the Dupree mansion provides the emotional core of the episode. Anita's plea that everything I've done was to protect this family, contrasted with Danny's response that you protected a lie, not a family, encapsulates the show's central conflict between appearance and reality. 2. Leslie's betrayal. The revelation that Leslie Thomas has been playing all sides, secretly recording conversations, and selling information to whoever would pay, leads to her dramatic confrontation with Eva. Learning that her sister has been manipulating everyone creates one of the episode's most heartbreaking moments. 3. Chelsea and Martin's alliance. Perhaps the most unexpected development is Chelsea Hamilton and Martin Richardson forming an alliance based on their shared experience as family outsiders. Their scene planning to rebuild something more honest from the ruins of Oakwood Estates suggests a potential path forward. 4. Nicole's choice. After discovering the full extent of both her husband's and parents' crimes, Nicole faces an impossible choice. Her decision to take her children and leave both families behind, telling Ted and her parents, "You can fight over the ashes of what you've built," marks a defining moment for her character. As a metaphorical storm builds throughout the episode, an actual severe weather system hits Oakwood Estates in the final act, creating the perfect backdrop for the community's unraveling. The power outage plunges these once pristine homes into darkness, forcing confrontations that can no longer be avoided. The production design and cinematography deserve special mention here. The use of emergency generators creating patches of light amid overwhelming darkness perfectly symbolizes the few remaining threads of truth amid overwhelming deception. 1. Vernon receiving word that federal agents will be arriving with warrants the next morning, triggering his decision to either flee or face the consequences. 2. Bill Hamilton suffering what appears to be a heart attack after Chelsea reveals her betrayal, leaving the Hamilton revenge plan in uncertain territory. 3. An unexpected romantic encounter between Naomi Hamilton and Eva Thomas, suggesting a potential alliance that could reshape community power dynamics. Perhaps most significantly, we see Anita making a late-night visit to an unseen character, saying simply, "It's time to use what we prepared for." This cryptic scene hints at yet another layer to Anita's contingency planning and creates a perfect cliffhanger leading into the finale. The episode's final minutes deliver the season's most shocking twist yet, revealing that Smitty Richardson is actually Marcus Hamilton's son from a relationship before the Oakwood Estates development began. This revelation comes during his confrontation with Martin, explaining why he's always felt like an outsider despite his professional success. More importantly, it reveals that his marriage to Martin was initially motivated by a desire to get close to the families responsible for his father's death. The layers of irony here are masterful. Smitty married into the Richardson family seeking vengeance, unaware that it was Ted's father, not Vernon, who was directly responsible for Marcus's death. Meanwhile, Bill Hamilton has been pursuing vengeance against the wrong primary target all these years. The episode ends with a montage showing each major character at their lowest point, intercut with federal agents preparing to move in on Oakwood Estates the next morning. The final shot pulls back from the community as lightning illuminates the Oakwood Estates gate sign before the power fails completely and the screen goes black. The episode explores the painful collision between justice and family loyalty through multiple characters, most notably Danny's decision to work with federal investigators against her own family. The show presents no easy answers, allowing viewers to see the validity in both Danny's moral stand and Anita's fierce protection of her family. Vernon's emotional breakdown represents the culmination of the show's examination of ambition's cost. His line, "I built walls to protect us that became our prison," serves as a powerful metaphor for how success achieved through compromise can ultimately become its own punishment. The episode highlights how the children of Oakwood Estates are forced to reckon with their parents' choices. Nicole, Chelsea, Danny, and Martin Each represent different responses to this inheritance of moral compromise. The revelations about Marcus's death simultaneously destroy the community's foundations while potentially liberating those who've been imprisoned by these secrets for years. This duality is captured perfectly in Eva's line. Sometimes you have to burn it all down to build something real. With just one episode left this season, here are my predictions for the finale. 1. Anita's mysterious contingency plan likely involves taking the fall for Vernon, possibly confessing to orchestrating everything to protect him and their children. 2. The alliance between Chelsea and Martin will position them to create a new vision for Oakwood Estates that more closely resembles Marcus and Vernon's original inclusive concept. 3. Nicole will likely emerge as an unexpected power player, using her knowledge of both families to negotiate some form of protection for her children's future. 4. The revelation about Smitty's parentage will force a reckoning between the Hamilton and Richardson families that could either heal or deepen the community's divisions. 5. Leslie Thomas may not survive the finale, as her manipulation of all sides has left her vulnerable to multiple enemies with nothing left to lose. The title of next week's finale, Beyond Redemption, suggests we may not get the neat resolution some characters are hoping for. This show has consistently rejected simple moral answers, so I expect the finale to leave us with as many questions as answers. The Reckoning delivers everything great television should: emotional payoffs to long-running storylines, shocking revelations that recontextualize what came before, and complex character decisions that defy easy categorization. The performances in this episode deserve special recognition, particularly whose mother-daughter confrontation will likely be remembered as one of the season's defining moments. What did you think of these revelations? Were you shocked by Smitty's true identity? Do you think Vernon will actually face justice, or will Anita find a way to protect him one last time? Let me know your thoughts and finale predictions in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please hit that like button and subscribe for our finale recap next week. I have a feeling we'll have a lot to discuss after what promises to be an explosive conclusion to this remarkable first season. Until next week, when we'll see if anyone can truly escape from beyond these gates. Thanks for watching.